And that sort of leads us into the next finding, which is all around the production health and where are people investing in particular in AI, but in technology in general. And one of the things I found interesting about this particular topic is we hear a lot in the media, a lot in the press, a lot in different organizations around this idea of finding new efficiency and finding resiliency and finding ways to optimize under conditions. And what with kind of this finding kind of reflects that. It sort of reflects this idea that it's not just about logistics. It's not just about outside your walls, but there's also a search for improvement inside the walls now that's taking a very important role. And we thought that was very important to talk about. And as we look at that a bit deeper, we also saw that there are some key things that people are chasing. And if you remember the first poll question we asked you about upscaling your workforce. Well, we asked you that because, in fact, that's what the survey showed was one of the major places for investment in AI. It wasn't the only one. There's some very significant investments going on across a couple of areas here. But what was kind of interesting was that workforce was actually the highest one over even increasing capacity and meeting production targets. Real emphasis on the fact that AI has an opportunity to improve the way people work and to improve the way that people execute. And we thought that was very interesting. And so we want to take the opportunity here to let you answer the same question. So if you and your organization are investing in AI, if that's one of the areas you're chasing, what are some of the top objectives you're chasing? So there should be some questions in the survey there for you to answer, and we'll give you just a second to do that. And as we do, think about this, not just about upskilling now. This one's a bit bigger than that. But what are you hoping AI investments will bring for you? So let's take a look now and see what we have in the survey. So interesting. So results starting to come in here. Obviously, sustainability ESG is on the list. That's awesome. Glad to see that. We'll talk a bit more about that in a few minutes. Supply chain visibility, getting a group, and here comes workforce. So there we go. So we were hoping, we expected to see that from the survey, but interesting to see that coming up now. But let's give it just a second longer. Median production targets. All right, maybe just one more second. Okay, so interestingly enough, a little bit of difference here in the live results versus the fixed survey results, and the fact that so far production targets is actually at 40%. Sustainability is now catching up, so it changes in real time as people answer. So keep answering, but a little bit of difference in the fact that so far in the live survey, upskilling's coming in third, but with the production targets and sustainability kind of taking a tie there for that. So that's super interesting. All right, so let's take a look at that, and let's turn back to the panel. So going to go right back to you for this one. When you look at the use cases for AI, and I know that in this particular part of the research that you and your colleagues do, where are you seeing success from manufacturing organizations, and where are you still seeing gaps? What does that look like from the research you're doing?
Yeah, James, we have been hearing about AI from a very long time, but the conversation has really picked up in the last couple of years. And from my perspective, the biggest gap that is there, I think we're already trying to address that. And to me, it is looking at AI as a standalone technology. If we look at AI as a standalone technology, the adoption is complicated. Say an end user is in the business of producing chemical or fertilizer and so on. And if they want to adopt AI, and they have to start about thinking that, okay, how do I adopt AI? What are the applications where I can use it? What are the companies I need to work with? How many data scientists I need? So if they are developing an AI solution from scratch, that makes the adoption complicated, the whole process longer, and they may not see the kind of results that they want to achieve, in the time frame that they want. But this, approach has been changing in the last few years. And rather than looking at AI as a standalone technology, what different solution providers are doing is that they are embedding the AI technology into their existing solution. So kind of increasing the value proposition for the end user a little bit, adding incremental value with AI. So that makes adoption easier and faster. And even with solution providers that are offering complete solution around AI. What they are trying to do is that they are trying to solve specific problem for the end user, trying to address a particular challenge. And the whole process is much smoother for the end user, when they're looking at AI. So rather than looking at a standalone technology, it's actually a solution for them now.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And Dave, let's take this now from a manufacturer's lens, right? We know there's a lot of data talk about pilot purgatory and people starting projects and not getting through them. How do you take one of these projects and make sure it's not just another experiment? What kind of criteria should organizations be thinking about?
Yeah, probably one of the biggest questions I get, in where I'm helping people today is this whole thing about the purgatory of pilots and experiments. And I think, I just want to cover how to be aware when you're entering that. I see lots of people today trying stuff out, yeah, and the outcome's really positive, and then they sometimes don't quite believe it, and then they want to try it again, yeah, and then they've told somebody else, and then the phrase you used, the normal one goes, you know what, that's not going to work over here because it's different here, yeah, and then so they want to do yet another experiment, yeah, and my view personally, by the way, is that there's more the same in manufacturing than there is difference, yeah. I think as human beings, sometimes we've been trained to focus on the differences, where actually some of the real gems are in the similarities. What happens then is they go to like senior leadership and go, like, we've had all these experiments, we want some approval to spend money, but the story's a bit misaligned because they never did it together, and something's not quite lining up. So guess what? The senior guys want to have another experiment to prove it to themselves, and then you get to the point where you're in that pilot purgatory. So a few of the lessons: prove it fully as soon as you can and get to value, and absolutely be relentless in that pursuit. Yeah. Once you've got to that point, make a conscious choice. Are you going to go wider or are you going to go deeper? Yeah. A lot of people just make it a conscious choice. Don't just end up on that journey. Make a real conscious decision. Because I think it's always better to scale something really well than actually scale nothing at all. Yeah. To prove that point of value. And these things can actually be self-funding. That path to value is critical. If you choose this and get it right and scale it, it can be a self-funding thing. And remember that, I said it before, the journey is from data to knowledge to wisdom. But you can get value extracted at every step. Engaging people in some of those insights alone brings value out, because they're looking at data and insights in a way they've never looked at it before. And bring as many people along that journey as you can, hopefully so that, you're not all duplicating in secret. I'd rather see it replicating with a bit of pride. And so the learnings happen all the way through. So if you can experience it together, it's a lot easier when you decide on what comes next. And, there's always an added bonus of doing that together, is that you all then succeed and win together. And even better, nobody ends up losing alone. So that path to value, doing it together, and just don't try and boil the ocean. Scale one thing, scale it well, and be relentless in the pursuit to value.
Excellent, Dave. Thank you. So, Brian, scale something we talk about a lot at Augury. It's one of the things we focus a great deal on. And from Augury's perspective, how do you break the roadblock of scale? Particularly with AI. How do you win with AI as a manufacturer?
It's a good question, and is one we get a lot, and I'll kind of combine, I think, some thoughts from both Preet and Dave, which is, back to your the way you opened up this webcast, which is this combination of optimism of the idea that AI can solve a lot of problems in manufacturing is true, but it's also the trap, and that some people, if you try to take a general purpose AI tool and solve every problem on that slide that we showed a few minutes ago, that's when things don't scale. That's when it's hard to get to value. That's when you're it's like trying to play a round of golf with only one club. Once in a while you get lucky and the problem facing you on the course is the one your club can solve. More often than not, it's not. And so I think the way you scale is, as Preet said, is don't go after AI for AI's sake, go after a business problem and find a solution that incorporates AI designed to solve that problem. Right? So something purpose-built that can actually solve a real problem you have. Doing so lets you focus it, and then back to Dave's comments is, if you do that, you're probably going to get value, and if you get value, people are going to get behind it, and you're going to have the ability to scale it and measure it and do more of it. So the irony is sometimes the focus is the best way to scale versus going broad. So it's the opposite of what people think, is that sometimes the narrower the problem or the more focused, the more likely you're going to be to actually get a big result out of an AI-driven solution. And don't make it about AI, make it about the solution to the problem. And AI is just another technology to help make that happen.
Excellent. And I'm going to add one personal comment there. I hear a lot of people say, what do I need AI for? You need AI to help you solve a problem you couldn't solve by yourself, right? But it's a problem, not every problem, right? And I think that's the goal to scale. I 100% agree with that.